Good afternoon, everybody. What is going on? I am jeffgrantMEDIA, and we are doing my 2-month update on my BraveStar Selvage 23-ounce Gauntlet jacket that I am currently wearing for the Indigo Invitational Year 3 Redline Rally. So, as of today's date, it is August 1st. I have now been wearing this jacket for 62 days, and out of that 62 days, I have worn it for 60 of them. So I've only missed 2 days. I missed the 4th of July because, well, it was incredibly hot, and it was the 4th of July, so I don't think I wore anything more than a bathing suit and a t-shirt for the entirety of that day. I did not even put on shoes. I think I just put on flip-flops, went to the lake, and basically drank a bunch of daddy juices, swam in the lake, hung out, and then I also wore this camping where it rained quite a bit for the better part of the week that we were camping, and one day it rained really bad, so I didn't wear this. I basically wore rain gear all day long. So I didn't wear this camping one day because, you know, denim in rain, not so much rain gear in rain, works out a little bit better. So 2 days out of 62 days I have not worn this jacket. So I'm thinking that's a pretty good average, especially since it's been, I think we're had 3 heat waves this summer where it was 90 plus for an extended period of days. I think it's 3+ days, and several of those I think lasted like a week long. I think the shortest one was like 4 or 5 days, and it was like 92 today, and I had the jacket on for basically the entirety of the day. Now, I was inside in the air conditioning, but it's my firm belief that corporate America likes to keep you at a freezing cold level. So generally when I'm at work and working inside the building, I'm usually wearing a jacket. But I was actually in the warehouse or the bulk storage of my department area for a large portion of the day, rummaging through boxes and digging out and setting up products. So I was actually wearing this while I was doing some physical labor, and it wasn't too bad because the air conditioning was cranked quite high. But you don't care about any of that. You want to know about the fades. So without further ado, let's jump right on into it. So the most prominent and noticeable thing going on with this jacket are the honeycombs that are happening in both of my inner elbows. We were getting some very nice creasing going on in both, and we are seeing some pretty high contrast fades finally starting to pop through. I will say, no matter what I do with the camera, it does not seem to capture exactly what I can see with the naked eye, so please believe me when I say they are even better in person. If we go down the right sleeve, we are actually seeing a little bit of creasing and some fades coming in on the top of the right cuff, which is interesting. This happened post cold soak, which I have only done one of thus far. Now, if we take both of our cuffs and we spin them to the inside, you can see both the inner cuff and the bottom of the seam from the sleeves are taking on a fairly decent amount of wear and fades. This is from me working at my desk when I'm at the computer, when I'm using both the mouse and the keyboard. This is dragging against my desk. So these are very high contact points of the jacket. So they are starting to see quite a bit of fading going on, and I'm really digging what I'm seeing here. Carrying on with the sleeves, if we go now to the upper portion near my armpit area, we are seeing quite a bit of fading going on here. This is both from me moving around my arms and from when I'm wearing a backpack on the scooter. This is one of the points where the straps of my backpack do rub on my jacket. We'll stay in the same area, moving along to the outside of the 2 front breast pockets. You can see some decent fading going on here on the edges of both of the pocket flaps. This will definitely be from the backpack straps rubbing here when I'm on the scooter and when I'm walking to and from the office to the parking lot. This is certainly wear that is going on from the backpack straps. Now, if we go to my right front chest pocket, this is not coming through camera very, very good, but I do keep my earbuds all the time in this pocket. So there is a little bit of fading coming through. You can see with the naked eye, it is pretty faint, and you really do need some good natural light to see it well, but it is starting to fade, and I think within the next month or two, we're gonna see some good signs of fade here where I keep my earbuds. If we move down to the belly pockets, one thing that was a bit surprising, the right belly pocket is actually a little bit darker than the left, and that would be because I am right-handed, so I am accessing this pocket more frequently when I'm putting keys in and out of this pocket. And I'm gonna go ahead and guess that is transfer of dirt and grime from my hands or whatever I'm putting into my pocket. Now the edge of the hem along the buttons, both sides seem to be fading quite nicely. We can see a little bit of high contrast fading going on. Now as far as the buttonholes go, I generally only button these two buttons of my jacket. So both of these are softening up quite nice and are very easy to both button and unbutton. Not to say that the other three buttons are difficult to button, but because these are the two that I use on almost a daily basis, the material has softened up quite a bit, making it much easier to both button and unbutton these two particular ones. Now, if I pop the collar, I am seeing a little bit of fading going on the edge of the collar where it rubs against my neck, but it is not very noticeable, and then when the collar is actually folded over, you can barely see it at all. Even though the collar is a high touch point of the jacket, I would go ahead and wager it is not lightening and fading nearly as fast because it touches the back of my neck and it has been quite hot, so I am sweating, so I'm sure a lot of the transfer of the sweat and grime from my body is going onto the collar, making it stay darker longer. Flipping the jacket over, across the upper back, we have some fading where all of the seams kind of come together, but now we're also seeing a little bit of fading on the seam where the sleeve seam meets the back of the jacket. I'm gonna guess, again, this is from my backpack rubbing here when I'm throwing it on and off as I'm riding to and from work on the Ruckus. But for the most part, that is it. We're not seeing a lot of wear across the back. There is a little bit of sheen that I'm seeing along the seams on the bottom, again from my backpack rubbing, but not a lot of fade and not a lot of wear and not a lot of creasing going on across the back. Now, if we go to the back of my elbows, we are seeing quite a bit of fading and wear going on here. I think the right elbow has a little bit more fade than the left, whereas the left, I believe, has a little bit more of a sheen or a shine to it than the right, but both of them are starting to fade nicely, and I think we're gonna get some really high contrast fades on these in another month or two. Now, post cold soak, this jacket is softening up quite a bit. It is a 23-ounce denim, so it is pretty heavy, it's a pretty beefy weight, but it has softened up a lot. The first couple days post cold soak, it was a little stiff, but any denim that you get wet and then air dry is going to be stiff. So it took a couple days to really wear that like air dried stiffness out of it. But once that happened, it started to soften up, and that was about 3 weeks ago that I cold soaked and air dried. So in the past 3 weeks, it has softened up tremendously, and it's almost feeling like a nice thick hoodie or like nice thick sweatpants now. It's very soft to the touch. I really, really like the way it feels now. It's feeling really, really nice. And the high contact points, like the two buttons that I use mostly, and my sleeves, my cuffs on my sleeves that I'm always kind of touching and articulating, and that right pocket, the outside flap, that's really, really soft. And it's really breaking in, it's really fitting and feeling really, really nice to wear. And again, I have been wearing this all the time, 60 out of the past 62 days, and I've worn this in, I think the coldest temperature I had this in, it was probably about 55 degrees maybe, 1 or 2 of the mornings when I was walking Duke, but I've worn this in 90 plus. I think the hottest was like 97-ish on the scooter coming home from work. So I've worn this in a variety of temperatures, and it's only getting more and more comfortable to wear, and the fades are starting to really come through. They're really starting to pop. So the Gauntlet, although I think the weight of the jacket may have been a bad choice to wear when the competition started in June, the actual material and the weight of the jacket and the way that's wearing and fading is a pretty good choice because it is starting to develop some really nice high contrast fades, and we are only 2 months into this 12-month challenge. So I have 10 more months to wear and break in and beat up this jacket, and if it looks this good after 2 months, I can't imagine what it's going to look like after the next 10. So I'm very satisfied with the jacket. It was a good choice. I'm just saying it was a bad choice because the weight and the warmth, the heat of the summer, it was just really hot wearing this in several heat waves. But all that out of the way, it's a great choice. It's a great jacket. I'm loving the way it's looking. I'm loving the way it's feeling. I'm loving the way it's wearing, and I'm very excited to see what this thing's gonna look like. So don't worry, I'm gonna keep doing these updates every month. I'll probably pepper in a few other shorts here and there as I'm seeing some wears or something pop through. So don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Smash that big red button and ring that bell right next to it so you get notifications next time I post a brand new video. Good night.